Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission meeting. It is Thursday, the 25th of August, 2022. I'd like to ask Director Johns to please call the roll.
Thank you, Chairman. Coles?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
Crosby?
Here.
Fleshman?
Here.
Jeltness?
Here.
Baltzell?
Here?
And Commissioner Clemenson has an excused absence.
Correct. Thank you. Well, we do have a quorum, and I'll now call the meeting to order. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Davis to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good morning, everyone. We've got a pretty full agenda today, but it looks like there's some really good stuff going on. So there aren't any ceremonies, appointments, or announcements that I'm aware of. Does anybody know of anything along that line? Okay, if not, moving along. Item 3, conflict disclosures. Do any of the commissioners have any thing to disclose relative to the agenda for today? Okay, moving on. Consent calendar.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission Workshop Minutes, July 19th, 2022. Item B is the Finance and Policy Committee Minutes of August 1st, 2022. Item C is the Communication, Property, and Personnel Committee Minutes, August 22, 2022. Item D is the payables for this month totaling $6,480.51. Item E is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $4,580,147.22 and accrued interest for the month of $2,884.89. Item F is the financial reports as of July 31st, 2022. Item G is the fiscal year 2022 audit engagement letter from Anderson Brothers CPA to perform the fiscal year 2022 audit for an amount not to exceed $8,750. This amount is an overall increase of $1,275 from last year and includes an anticipated charge of $500 for the analysis and implementation of a new GASB lease accounting standard. Approval of the consent calendar will authorize a transfer of $6,480.51 to the First Interstate checking account for the monthly payables and $2,884.89 accrued interest to the general fund. Mr. Chairman, I'd answer any questions.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on the consent calendar for today? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Coles?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Fleshman?
Aye.
Jeltness?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Committee updates, finance and policy.
Chairman, we reviewed the current financial reports, which we've just approved. We also submitted to the auditor some questions with regard to the engagement letter, which were resolved. And we also finalized the fiscal year 2023 budget, which we will present later in the hearing, at a public hearing later in this meeting.
Okay. Any questions regarding finance and policy committee updates? Not district review?
Nothing from me this morning.
Okay. Communications, property, personnel?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. We met on Monday, the 22nd, and we interviewed 3 of the website companies, the marketing companies that have submitted proposals for our website rebuild. So we'll be making a recommendation to the full commission within a month.
Great. Super. Thank you very much. Any questions for any of the committees? If not, we'll go to citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. And I think we probably don't have any citizens. You guys are all citizens. I know. But anybody have anything they want to bring up at this time? Okay. All right, moving forward, we'll be doing the public hearing on their fiscal year 2023 annual budget submission. And a public hearing is going to be held now on the proposed budget for this next fiscal year for the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency. If anyone wishes to speak and has not filled out a form, please do so now. They're at the back of the room, and give it to the executive director. Notice of the public hearing was published on August 13th and August 20th as required by Idaho Code Section 50-2903, parenthesis 5. Okay, the public hearing is now open. Treasurer Crosby will present the fiscal year 2023 budget.
We put the budget up. How do I do that? Perfect. Thank you. Good morning. Here are the key aspects of the Urban Renewal Commission's fiscal year 2023 budget for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2022 and ending September 30th, 2023. Under revenues, tax increment income is projected for each existing urban renewal district and is based on the values of the properties located in that district as determined by the Kootenai County Assessor's Office and the levy rate for the year as determined by the budget set by each of the taxing entities. This year, the tax rate for each of the taxing districts is not currently known and will not be finalized until each of those entities have their budget hearings later this year. The tax increment we've projected in this budget is therefore based on 3 factors: last year's tax rates for each of the underlying districts, the Idaho State Tax Commission projections for fiscal year 2023, and our conservative forecast based on the average change in tax increment received over the last 4 years. The averaging process that we use adjusts for the reduction of levy rates that we have seen over the last several years as property values have dramatically increased. We expect that levy rates in 2023 will continue to decline as values continue to increase. The Urban Renewal Commission closed the Expo Urban Renewal District in fiscal year 2022, so no tax increment is projected for that district. Over the life of the commission, we have closed a total of 5 urban renewal districts and returned all of the increased tax revenues from new development within those districts to the underlying tax districts and to the public. The majority of those districts were closed early, and excess tax increment collected within the fiscal year when the district was closed was reimbursed to the underlying taxing entities, and we will continue that process. Based on the preliminary 2022 assessed values and the estimated tax levy rate, we are conservatively projecting a slight decrease in the tax increment to be received in the Center Point district, despite continued development we are seeing within that district. The projected decrease is 14.8% of the increment received in 2022. Increment for the East Post Falls, Technology, Downtown, and Pleasant View districts are projected to increase slightly due to new and continuing development within those districts. Overall, the projected tax increment for the Center Point, East Post Falls, Technology, Downtown, and Pleasant View Urban Renewal districts are anticipated to increase by approximately 6% or $314,900 from the increment we projected in 2022 due to continued new commercial and industrial development. No other income is anticipated, and we do not anticipate the need to transfer funds from the general fund to meet any agency operating cost. Interest income has been conservatively projected. Interest income is projected to decrease despite increasing interest rates, since the Commission will be closing 2 of its largest districts, the Center Point and East Post Falls districts, in fiscal 2023, and will be paying down accrued tax increment funds as public improvements are completed within those districts. Carryover revenue is tax increment projected in prior periods within a district, collected in prior periods within a district, which will be used to pay for public improvements which are currently underway or planned for the future. Those funds will only be paid out when the public improvements have been fully completed, paid for by the proponent or the sponsor, dedicated to and accepted by the City of Post Falls, and all costs reviewed and documented by the Commission's independent engineers. The agency is projecting carryover revenues in 2023 for the East Post Falls, Centerpoint, and Technology districts, which reflect revenues that will probably be used to pay for key transportation and other public improvements, some of which will be rebated back to the tax districts as we close those districts in fiscal year 2023. We have repaid all outstanding debt and are not projecting any borrowings in fiscal year 2023. Total revenues, including carryover funds projected for fiscal year 2023, are $8,507,721. It is important to note that the Commission's projected revenues are generated from tax increment created by new development within each of our urban renewal districts. The term tax increment is the increase in property taxes within the district resulting from new development stimulated by expanded public infrastructure and other improvements, including water, sewer, and roads. The underlying taxing districts continue to receive the same amount of property tax income that they were receiving prior to the creation by the City Council of each urban renewal district. And once the urban renewal district is closed, and we will close 2 in this fiscal year, all of the additional taxes created by the new development and public improvements made by the Commission within the district go back to the underlying taxing entities. As urban renewal districts are closed, each of the underlying tax entities will receive a dramatic and continuing increase in tax increments from the new development stimulated by expanded infrastructure and public improvements. This should allow those taxing districts to continue to reduce their levy rate and reduce property taxes. In the case of the Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission, those additional taxes derived by new development will total in excess of $4.5 million per year as we close the Centerpoint and East Post Falls districts in fiscal year 2023. Expenses, Joe, how do I move this down or move it up?
Just the little scroll wheel.
Okay, good, thank you. Great. Our main expenditures in 2023 will continue to be reimbursement of costs associated with approved, completed, and dedicated public improvements and expanded public infrastructure. Proponent reimbursement for approved and completed public improvements is projected to increase by $3.4 million to $8.3 million. This increase reflects the fact that we will close out the Expo, Centerpoint, and we have closed out the Expo, and we will close out the Centerpoint and East Post Falls urban renewal districts in this coming fiscal year. We will be paying off the balance of those public improvements, which are being completed currently in those districts. Projected reimbursements assume all existing improvements set forth in the approved district plans will be completed within fiscal year 2023. If improvements are not completed or approved and dedicated within that fiscal year, for those districts that continue to be in place, the projected funds will be dispersed to the underlying taxing districts as districts are closed, or in the case of continuing districts, carried over to the next fiscal year and reflected in the agency's 2024 fiscal year budget. If tax increment generated over the life of an urban renewal district is not sufficient to fully reimburse a proponent for the public improvements because development didn't happen, then the proponent's opportunity to be reimbursed will be lost. Over the course of fiscal year 2022, the Commission has fully repaid all bond debt associated with the Greens Ferry overpass, which was outstanding at the beginning of fiscal year 2022. Those bonds were paid 21 months early, saving the public more than $56,000 in projected interest costs. As we close out fiscal year 2022, the Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission has no debt and no plan to incur debt in the coming fiscal year. Operating expenses. The operating expenses for the agency have been decreased in fiscal year 2023 budget by $26,000. Operating expenses, including projected general fund carryover of funds and contingency, continue to represent only 3% of our projected revenue. Our fiscal year 2022 operating expenses Actual expenses associated with the agency, which do not include carryover funds or contingencies, were budgeted at $232,200. Our actual expenses for the first 9 months of fiscal year 2022 are $100,262, or approximately $11,000 per month. Annualized, we are projecting that our fiscal year 2022 operating expenses will be just over $140,800, which is well below budget. The budget continues to contain a 5% contingency, and we are projecting a carryover to the agency's general fund of approximately $75,000 at the end of fiscal year 2023. The budget projects a slight increase in the following line items: audit, and as you just heard, that increase is going to be a bit more than we projected. Insurance, dues and memberships, computer software to update 2 programs, rent paid to the Chamber of Commerce for our office space, and phone and video conference services. Many of these increases are small in nature, projected on the basis of inflation or one-time expenses such as software updates. We are projecting a decrease in the expenses for employee wages and related costs, office supplies, and web hosting. Total expenses for fiscal year 2023, including payments for public improvements, a contingency, and a general fund carryover, are forecast at $8,507,712, exactly what our revenues are. Of that total, $8,301,634, or 97% of our expenses, are allocated to reimbursing proponents for completed, and the city, for completed, approved, and dedicated public infrastructure located within each of our urban renewal districts, and the forecast expenses representing our operating and administration costs for the agency are less than 3% of our forecasted revenue. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? You didn't get anything submitted, right?
Nothing has been submitted
Okay.
online, by phone, or in person.
Okay, then I will now close the public part of the hearing.
Thank you, Chairman.
Get to do that again, and open commissioner deliberations and actions. Do any of the commissioners have anything they would like to discuss or ask about or deliberate on?
I have a question. Since our audit is changing, our audit amount, will that come out of our contingency?
It will. That's
Okay.
generally why we have the contingency is, and as Joe pointed out, that's only about 20% of our contingency amount.
Correct.
So we feel like we're okay.
Right, and the increase was, last year apparently they did some additional work for, on our audit in conjunction with the city's audit, and they didn't ask to be paid for anything, but they said in the future if they have to do anything outside the normal audit process, then they would be billing us for some portion of that, so that's the reason for doing that. Okay, any other questions? Okay, very good. I would like to entertain a motion to approve a resolution approving the fiscal year annual budget. Is there a commissioner that would like to make that resolution?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Coles,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Fleshman,
Aye.
Cheltness,
Aye.
Baltzell.
Aye. Okay, and motion approved. Thank you all very much, and thank you and your finance committee and our executive director for a great job in putting that together. And I guess we'll get the same raise that we got last year.
Absolutely. 0 times 0 is 0.
Still
Add a
zero.
zero.
Still zero, isn't it? Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Now we'll move into the unfinished business portion, and I guess we did the first one already, the resolution. So we'll go to item number B, third addendum to URA policy number 7.
Chairman, Commissioners, this policy addendum was presented discussed at the July 19th, 2022 Commission workshop, at which time a motion was approved to forward it for consideration at this August Commission meeting.
Okay? So basically, what we need just is a motion to approve the addendum
Correct.
to this, to policy 7.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the approval of the amendment to Policy 7, which I think makes some needed changes in our policy, recognizing that we're going to have some mixed-use development down in the downtown area and in other areas of the city, and also recognizing a need to assist workforce housing.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
pardon?
I said I'll second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote on the action for approval of of item number 7, or policy 7, excuse me.
Coles.
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Crosby.
Aye.
Fleshman.
Aye.
Jeltnes.
Aye.
Baltzell.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, projected 2023 closing budget for the East Post Falls District is next.
Chairman, Commissioners, Idaho Code states that a closing budget must be published the year prior to the closure of an urban renewal district, and a public hearing must be held at which the closing budget is presented. The closure date of the East Post Falls District is December 31st, 2022. The agency can collect increment in 2023 based on the 2022 tax levy per Idaho Code. The anticipated increment of $3,821,196 will be used to reimburse the district proponents for public improvements. Any increment remaining after proponent reimbursement will be provided to the district's underlying tax districts. A motion would be in order to tentatively approve the closing budget for the East Post Falls Urban Renewal District and authorize staff to advertise the public hearing for September 15th, 2022.
Okay, any questions, or anyone like to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, well, I think we'll need a roll call vote on that too.
We just, voice vote's fine on that.
Okay.
Yep.
For a voice vote, all in favor of the presentation on the closing budget for East Post Falls District, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. And now for the closing budget project on Center Point District.
Chairman, the Center Point District is also closing. The same Idaho Code applies in the case of the Center Point District, so I will not go over the same verbiage. But the closure date of the Center Point District is December 18th, 2022. The agency can collect increment in 2023 based on the 2022 tax levy per Idaho Code. The anticipated increment of $642,970 will be used to reimburse the proponent for public improvements. A motion would be in order to tentatively approve the closing budget for the Center Point Urban Renewal District and authorize staff to advertise the public hearing for September 15th, 2022.
Okay,
So
thank you.
moved.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Center Point District closing budget is approved. Okay, moving right along. Okay, new business, approval of semi-annual proponent reimbursements.
Chairman, Commissioners, per agency policy number 7, tax increment received by the agency for each of the urban renewal districts is dispersed in February and August each year for public improvements that have been planned, completed, and paid for by the proponent and dedicated to the city. August reimbursements will be distributed as follows. In East Post Falls, Tullamore, the proponent Copper Basin Construction has a reimbursement of $74,404.26 with zero remaining obligation. Tullamore Commons 2 in East Post Falls District, proponent is Whitewater Creek, a reimbursement of $8,811.37 and a remaining obligation of $132,212.08. In the Expo District, the final reimbursement to J.R. Watson and Associates in the amount of $309,464.66 with a remaining obligation of $0 brings the total amount of reimbursements to $392,680.29. With regards to district balances, CenterPoint has a current balance of $781,823.41 to be used for future improvements in the CenterPoint district. The Point Apartments in the CenterPoint district has a current balance of $133,881.64. The agreement between Whitewater Creek and the Point Partners LLC has not been executed. The current Point Apartments balance will be added to the CenterPoint balance for the district's closing year. The Post Falls Technology District has a current balance of $364,452.40 for future reimbursement of public infrastructure projects. The East Post Falls South Center District has $1,362,765 that will be used for the Cecil Avenue intersection projects. Projected increment for fiscal year 2023 is $2.5 million. East Post Falls Tullamore has a current balance of $523,095.90 to be used for improvements in the Tullamore portion of the East Post Falls District. A motion would be in order to approve the semi-annual proponent reimbursements and authorize transfer of $392,680.29 to the First Interstate Bank checking account.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion, any questions? Yes.
Question, as we close Expo, are there any do we anticipate any disbursements to the underlying taxing entities?
There is approximately just over $14,000 of remaining increment. I will be presenting that at the September commission meeting for return or rebate to the underlying taxing districts.
Thank you.
Okay, good question. Any other questions? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the recommended reimbursement amounts for August.
Move to approve the semi-annual reimbursement amounts for August.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? And let's see, can we do that by voice?
Voice vote's fine.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, thank you. Downtown District, A&A Construction OPA is next on the agenda.
Chairman, Commissioners, this draft OPA was previously reviewed at the May 10th, 2022 workshop. And this version of the document includes the agency's requested changes in the engineer's cost estimates, the Exhibit B pages. Estimated costs for the intended roundabout at the intersection of Idaho and 4th Avenue have been removed pending amendment of the Downtown District Plan. Costs pertaining to site remediation, which is accounted for in the Downtown District Plan, have been added to the Exhibit B pages. The updated cost information has been provided to the city for analysis. The city does not have more updated cost estimate information than what has been submitted by the developer. A draft of this document needs to be approved by the commission before it is sent to the proponent for their input comment.
Okay, any
We
questions,
do-
comments? Go ahead.
We do have a representative for the project here if you would like to hear from them.
Yeah, sure. Right. I don't want to talk.
Can we just go to the map? The exhibit map, I think, kind of speaks for itself. Color. There you go. Good morning. Brad Marshall with JEB Engineers, representing A&A Development. Apologies from Ryan Ruffcorn, A&A representative. He had a kind of a family thing come up this morning, so he couldn't make it. He'll be at the next meeting. Again, this is an ongoing discussion on A&A's redevelopment of the Idaho Veneer site. You may recall several years ago, prior to the adoption of the downtown plan, A&A approached then Executive Director Diane, brought her into the mix of things as part of a charrette process. The property was in master plan, acquired. We made ongoing presentations to the agency, submittal letters, and we're at a point where now where we've estimated, and some real costs for redevelopment of the project. That speaks to redevelopment of public infrastructure primarily, and site remediation costs. So in generalities, this is roads, water, sewer, storm drainage. That is all public infrastructure. And then site remediation costs. And a reminder, this is a historic lumber mill like many along the river. And those remediation costs include removal of structures, those old mill buildings, significant amounts of concrete were within those. And then we call it fill material, organic material. This is sawdust and chips and that type of thing. So we put together those cost estimates based on real bids that A&A through their contractors. And then, as you may be aware, our firm is involved in a couple roundabouts in the city that we're actively working on. So we pulled numbers from those as well. So we try to get to the best available cost estimates. But the proof is in the pudding when you actually, you bid the work, you build it, and you close it out. So this is our best guess at this point in time. So we tried to kind of break it up. This is always a tough map to kind of interpret. Really, is the table that's up on the upper left-hand corner. It kind of breaks apart the project a little bit. I'll just kind of speak in generalities. They're just under construction of what's called the Millworks. So this is east of the Idaho Street extension, far right-hand corner, southwest corner. Again, this is a combination of condominium units. There's a variety of product types in there. So these are home ownership. That first-time buyer is going to be able to buy that unit, develop equity, and there's some apartments in there as well. The apartments are actually a mixed-use product, first floor retail, office space, and they're kind of an upscale unit, and they've already had a significant interest in that mixed-use retail component. I kind of got a waiting list, which is pretty exciting. So those are under construction. The sewer and water within the millworks is substantially completed. I think we're at a cost of about 1.2, as I recall. A little hard to read on my own. Oh, there we go, 1.5. That was the estimate. And again, we'll submit real invoices at that point in time. A reminder, we did not include the roads within the millworks because these are private drives, nor landscape improvements or anything like that. This is just public water and sewer, and that's owned by the city. Easements are granted to the city for maintenance of that. And that water provides increased pressure, obviously, to the Millworks project, but throughout the downtown area. And then sewer, again, public sewer within that project. So that's kind of what that looks like. Phase B is what we're kind of wrapping up today. Last week, you may have noticed that we paved a good portion of 4th Avenue. It's still kind of gated off, but 4th Avenue was reconstructed, the entire section. So there's new sewer and water in 4th, new sidewalks, swales, and we paved it last Friday. So and hope to open that up after striping in about a week. And we'll have a brand new section there. Is pretty exciting. If you may recall, that was a no curb gutter. It was pretty tough road before. So that's kind of where that's the status of that. A&A is then moving to the west side of the project. This is between Post Street and Lincoln, south of 4th, north of a railroad, almost kind of. And we're developing, again, a mixed-use product there, kind of apartment, first floor retail, again, an interest there. And then moving closer to the Idaho Street extension. Again, that's west of Idaho, and again, those costs are item number D of $491. So again, that's another, what they're projecting in that area is more kind of a senior housing product in there. There's a tremendous demand for, obviously, multifamily, but more of a senior housing product in there. And then kind of moving, kind of the capstone is the extension of Idaho Street through the site. So currently, we're in the early phases of design of Idaho Street and the roundabout there. And when I say early, I mean pretty early. We've done some topography surveys, some concepting. Our next step is a traffic study. You got to really kind of determine, what you're kind of dealing with there, particularly that roundabout. But we had to kind of put that that traffic study on hold just a little bit. And Bill knows this because he's the engineer in the room. Is when we closed off 4th Avenue to reconstruct it, that obstructed or changed the traffic flows in that area for a while. So we're going to open up 4th Avenue, get it striped, get people used to driving 4th, that new section again. Then we're going to complete a traffic study over the next 4 to 6 weeks, which kind of confirm what that roundabout looks like, what the Idaho Street extension looks like, and then move forward with design of the roundabout in Idaho Street through the winter. And those plans ideally will be ready and approved by next spring, and possibly a groundbreaking of Idaho Street and the roundabout next spring, summer. That's kind of the goal, to kind of bring it all together. Again, we've done our best guess of costs. I think the site remediation costs, they're significant. They're darn near $3 million. Those are actual real costs. Those are based on actual invoices that we can provide. We tried to summarize. We interpret them. We tried to summarize them. We submit them, but we can provide all the backup. Again, as I'm constantly reminded by our client, the A&A team, these are interesting times. We've had a big real estate boom. As a result of some interest rates, going up, things have leveled down a little bit, but they continue to have a significant interest in the project. On a fun note, you may have seen we've started the bookstore bistro that's on the northeast corner of Idaho and 4th. That's Leon Kibo, so that's going to be a landmark building. It's really going to set the tone. We continue to work on the hotel that's on the east end of 4th, near Celtice. We hope to break ground in that, or A&A does, here in the next couple months. It's taken a little bit of time to work through with a national brand. But that hotel ideally includes some conference centers. It'll be a landmark building and some conference rooms there too. So we'll have an alternative in the city. So that's pretty exciting. I think we've got one option for conference now, and have another option. Again, a reminder as well as agency is, reimbursement requests will come at a later date based on real invoices, real costs. Stand for questions.
Brad, on the north side of 4th Avenue, east of the fire station where the hotel and so on is going, wasn't there a projection of a health food store?
Yeah.
Is that still a player?
We wish that they were, but unfortunately they're not. Things took a little longer than anticipated to get it up and going, so they kind of pulled out on that one. We're looking at a mixed-use product in there again that would look kind of similar to what's on the south side of 4th. So first floor retail, and then apartment unit above. So kind of creates that downtown feel. So a good example is the Riverstone project in Coeur d'Alene, where we've got that first floor retail, which is a mix of shopping, office space, and a little bit of restaurant space. So I think that's what you'll ultimately end up seeing along that section of 4th, as well as the Idaho Street extension.
The reason I was asking is because with the focus on senior housing in that location. That would be still an ideal situation for elderly people or older people that might like to be able to walk over to the grocery store and so on. And you know, it's,
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out somebody coming in to mix it out with a local market. That's really just in the first floor retail components in there. So there's still opportunities.
Sure.
Definitely. Both along 4th, Idaho, in those areas. There's a lot of square footage available. I'd like to think that Yokes and Super One's not too far away. You know, having worked on senior housing projects, there's kind of a recipe that you've got to have. A big part of that is walkability.
thank you very much. I appreciate you. Unless anybody has any other questions, but appreciate your feedback and input and update on that. It's going to be a wonderful project, I think, for downtown Post Falls.
Fortunate, you've got a longstanding developer, Spokane-based, 40 years, who has been developing in your downtown district for 20 or 30 years. First partnered with Bob on the Falls Apartments down by the park. Yeah,
Very good.
good people.
Thank you. Anything else, anybody?
Yes, Chairman, I had a question for Pete. Pete, the remediation costs, as Mr. Marshall referred to, represent about 32% of the overall cost, and we all understand this was a former log operation or Idaho veneer plant. But I looked back at the changes that we just made to Policy 7, and we really we recognize the need to reimburse the proponent for remediation of environmental impact costs, but we limit that to commercial and industrial properties. So I was just wondering, in the context of the OPA and our policy, what kinds of challenges you see for us to basically take the information that they provide us with regard to the remediation costs and hone in on those that are actually right there. You know, I would assume that all of the buildings, since they're going to be joint use, commercial and residential along Idaho Street, would qualify, and all of this development, to the extent that it's not residential, to the north of 4th Street would qualify. But, you know, I just wanted to throw that out
Yeah, and that's
there.
gonna, you know, like Brad said, they're gonna submit invoices for all that, and that's gonna be part of the submittal process that our engineer reviews, and we'll make that determination. So, since there is some residential involved, a portion of those are gonna have to be cut out under the current version of the third addendum. So, because it is limited to commercial or industrial.
Sure, yeah, and I think we did put a significant portion, when we did the district plan with the help of the city, I know we did put a significant line item for remediation, because we had 2 sites that had previously been
Right.
identified as former lumber sites. But yeah, I just wanted to hone in on that so that we don't have any false expectations in the proponents with regard to our ability to address specific remediation costs that are not
Yeah,
associated
it'll
with
need to be honed down a little bit.
commercial or industrial. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Anything else? If not, we'll move right on to Copper Basin task order.
Chairman, is it acceptable by the commission to forward a draft of this OPA to the proponent?
Why don't we just, why don't
One
they just-
we just talked about.
yeah, we should have a motion, why don't we just have a motion to approve the OPA?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, I would move the approval of the OPA.
Sorry.
You know, we've worked a long time on this.
Yeah.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? And we can do that by voice vote.
That's a roll call. Yeah.
Roll call vote.
Roll call. Coles?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Fleshman?
Aye.
Jeltnes?
Aye.
Balto?
Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item?
Bushcomer task order.
The agency has received a request for reimbursement from Copper Basin Construction for $2,587,598.55 for portions of Hope Avenue, Bogey Drive, and Killdeer Avenue in the 8th and 9th editions of Tullamore in the East Post Falls District. The proponent has stated that this is their final project reimbursement request. Welch Comer has submitted a task order to review the reimbursement at a cost not to exceed $3,200. Legal counsel has reviewed the task order document.
Mr. Chairman, I would move the approval of the task order so that we can have our engineers take a look at this and give us their advice with regard to the request from the proponent as we close out this district the latter part of 2022.
Okay, so we're really asking to approve the review of the task order, not necessarily final decision on the task order.
No, we need approval of the task order, yes.
The task order basically authorizes the executive director to assign this to the engineer to do the work, yeah.
Correct.
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, good.
So once they've done
Right.
the work,
Then we'll
they'll
get
bring-
advice as to how much reimbursement they're recommending.
and so that will come back for approval.
Right.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the review of the task order?
Motion to approve the task order.
The task order, okay. I'll accept a motion for that, if anybody,
Is that what Len just did?
Lynn made it. I'll second it.
okay? Moved and seconded, any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Coles?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Fleshman?
Aye.
Jeltnes?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, East Point, East Post Falls District, Cecil Poleline intersection, request to extend deadline. Mr. Melvin, good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. First of all, just want to express an appreciation towards the agency with our working relationship between us and the city towards completing critical infrastructure and economic development for the community. So it's always a pleasure, and we really are seeing the results of a lot of our actions.
Thank you.
Originally, we established a memorandum of understanding that we entered into on May 20th for the Cecil projects. We had a Cecil Mullen Avenue and a Cecil Poleline project, two projects that we had with the agency. Within the original MOU, there was a completion date of those projects established of August 31st of this year. Currently, we've completed on the Cecil Mullen project. The construction is complete. We're still closing out some final pay requests from the contractor, as built from the engineer, and some miscellaneous things on that project. On the Cecil Poleline project, the majority of the roundabout the basic infrastructure has been completed. Paving is going to occur on that project on August 29th. We've got some miscellaneous signage, striping, and some little punch list items, small piece of sidewalk that'll be done around September 2nd or 3rd. And then there's some landscaping in the center median there. The goal is to get that open by the time school starts. In fact, our focus has really been, let's get this roundabout open before school starts so we have easy flow there. And quite frankly, we were probably more focused on that, opening date for the school than I was on the deadline date within the MOU. And we've been communicating clearly with the school, coordinating, contractor's been working with us. It's been a tough project under the short time frame we've had with right-of-way acquisition. We've had some supply chain issues. There was a water line in there with Ross Point Water District. We had trouble getting materials, but we've got it done. We're paving. We're almost through with the project, so we're really excited about that. However, because of our original completion date as established within the MOU, we would like 2 months to just kind of wrap things up, get these final miscellaneous punch list items completed on the roundabout, get the as-built in, get the final pay requests in and submitted by the contractors. We would like to amend that date within the original MOU for submittals from that August 31st of 22 to October or 31st or November 1st. So that is our request, to give us time for that. That's 2 months ahead of when the district closes. So there's 2 months of processing time within that. Once we have all the paper items in and everything submitted and organized, we would sit down with Joe at that time and go through it really clearly, step by step, to make sure that we're able to process it clearly. So at this point, we're requesting an extension, a 2-month extension on the deadline date within the original MOU to get everything closed out and have a neater, cleaner package to submit to the agency for review and approval.
Okay. Any discussion?
Any questions?
You don't anticipate a cost increase or any other items? So,
There has been some cost increase, but I know that we came, I believe, in April to you for
We
a
amended,
cost increase
yeah.
with that, and we're also picking up some of those, dollars as well from some
Okay.
impact fees that we had within there. So that undoubtedly, there are some cost increases. There are on a lot of projects, particularly these days with continuing material changes and supply chain issues. So, yeah.
Would you,
But we're not anticipating coming forward to you with a request for additional. We're looking for an extended date, just so we can be more organized with the package that we submit to you.
so would you be able to, even if you had an extension to the end of October, would you be in a position to open the roundabout and work on completing the little niceties on the
Yeah.
periphery?
Yes, our goal, schools, I believe, opens the 6th, and that is our goal, is to have it open by the time school starts.
And then complete those other pieces?
Yeah, and they're just some, so we should have most of the smaller items completed, with the exception of a little bit of landscaping in the center of it, of the roundabout, but they can work on those as school is open. So in the peak hours for, morning and evening, obviously we'd keep that open, but then they can come in and finish it up. So, yeah, we've talked to the engineer and the contractor, and we think we're very comfortable with being able to come forward, with that 2 months extension to give you a neater, cleaner package of everything that's done. So.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
just, Chairman, a question for Executive Director and Council. Is this logistically reasonable? I mean, doable, given the things we have to submit to the state and other documentation we have to do when we close the district?
It is, and I think October 31st is about as far out as we can go. And this is a pretty simple change. We just need to amend the MOU because it's just basically a date. And it's just, be a one-page document, which you could approve the action on today, and then I can draft that and have the chairman sign it after the fact, so.
Okay.
You're comfortable too, logistically?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fine.
I feel better about it knowing that you're planning to open the day school opens,
Right.
to be utilizing it, and then you'll finish up these last pieces along the way. Makes more sense to me, and for me, more supportive. Anybody else? Okay, so we need a motion to amend the extension deadline.
Move to extend, or to accept the extension date request to October 31st.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Coles,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Fleshman,
Aye.
Jeltnes,
Aye.
Baltzell.
Aye. Motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, last part on the new business is Centerpoint District submittal deadline extension discussion.
We're getting down there, Commissioners. Hang in there. The agency has received a request to extend the submittal deadline for the Baugh Way project in the Centerpoint District from August 31st to November 30th, 2022. The agency's consulting engineers have stated that a revised deadline for the project completion, city acceptance, and submittal of costs to the agency should be absolutely no later than October 31st, 2022. A written response to that effect has been provided to the proponent. City has been advised of this request and has responded affirmatively. A conference call with the proponent about their extension request is scheduled to occur after this meeting adjourns. So I just wanted to present it to the commission for discussion about the feasibility of extending the Center Point Ballway project deadline.
Can you tell us what deadline they're now looking for?
They are asking for November 30th, but our consulting engineers are advising no further than October 31st.
And this is the loop road that they're
Yeah.
constructing.
Correct. I was out there about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and they had made substantial progress. Sewer was completely in, water was being wrapped up to the Expo Parkway, and the branch streets, the water was going in. They were anticipating backfill and starting on their pre-grading activities last week, and I have not been out there this week to take a look. So they could be to the extent of curbing and that type of work, but I'll have to verify that. But they have been making quick progress, but again, the deadline is August 31st, and they're simply not going to make it.
Chairman, I think that, an extension is called for because of the delays that they've encountered, but I don't think we should go beyond the date we just extended the city's arrangement, because we have the same basic closing requirement. In fact, this district is closing 10 or 12 days before
It's
the East Post Falls, isn't it?
correct. Its closure date, I believe, is December 18th.
Yeah.
Our commission meeting will be a few days, in December, will be a few days prior to that, at which time the hope would be, or the anticipation would be, we would have an order of approval for that commission meeting for reimbursement of this project.
Thoughts?
That sounds reasonable.
I think October 31st should be our bottom line tail end.
Anything that can't get done by then and accepted by the city and documented, then I think is unreimbursable because of the logistics of closing the district.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
I
that'll,
second the motion. Yeah.
Get us into a lot of problems if they can't make it.
It's
There's
like Christmas
always a-
shopping.
Yeah.
All of it gets done in the last week.
And we
I
can't,
don't think we need a motion.
Yeah.
no, we
it's just
can't take
discussion.
action on this because it's not an action item, so it's
Right.
just for discussion.
Right.
Right. Okay. Any further discussion, input from?
I
the-
agree with that.
The executive committee will be meeting along with Pete and our executive director with the proponent after this meeting and get a little bit more fine-tuned, but so we'd have to come back anyway once we do what we think we should be doing to the commission, so.
Thanks, Chairman.
Okay. All right. Staff report and updates. Anything else from the staff?
Just a couple small items. In the downtown district, I have been informed by representatives of the Water Tower Lofts project that they desire to move ahead, which is good news, and their estimated costs will be forthcoming. So I'll pass those on to our district review committee and schedule that as soon as we have those. The first city agency quarterly staff meeting took place on Monday, August 22nd. It was well attended by both our agency representatives as well as representatives of the city departments, and it was very informative. I am currently in the process of composing the meeting notes and will provide them to the commissioners, or to the commission and participants as soon as I complete those.
Okay.
That
Thank you very
concludes my staff report.
Thank you very much. Commissioner comments?
I'd just like to thank Joe, because there's a lot of things on this agenda I know he's been working on for a couple of months, and it's good to see these things moving forward, getting these districts closed
Absolutely.
and this work done.
Well, not only that, this is all new territory for him
Right.
as well, and you're doing a fine job in keeping it together and contacting Pete and some of us on the commission for input but I think you're doing a super job that way.
Well, I appreciate it. I couldn't do it without some guidance and direction from all of you.
Right. Okay. Any other commissioner comments? I can't think of anything else to say either. This has been a good, busy day, and instead of being 10 minutes into the meeting and be done, we've been here an hour, so that's good. And so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion carried. We're adjourned.